So this interview, this one you see right here, took place about 12 years ago when President Goodluck Jonathan declared a state of emergency in Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno states during the peak of the insurgency in 2013. Now, I hardly make promises or give assurances, but I guarantee you on this one occasion that while watching this very interview, you would almost think that lawyer Jiti Ogunye was reacting to the state of emergency that has just been declared in Rivers State. A confirmation that in Nigeria, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Watch.
Contrary to popularly held but erroneous belief, the president has not declared a state of emergency.
Okay.
And he, acting alone as the head of the executive branch of government at the federal level, cannot declare a state of emergency. And this is not a matter of semantics. The president, acting properly under section 305 of the Constitution that the president invoked in his broadcast, can only issue by an instrument proclamation of a state of emergency.
Okay.
If you look at the provision of section 305, the marginal notes, which reads procedure for declaration of a state of emergency. The declaration of a state of emergency is a process of stages or steps.
Okay.
And it includes, first, the proclamation of a state of emergency by an instrument and the publication thereof in an official gazette of the federal government. That's stage one.
Okay.
The transmission of that gazette to the two houses of the National Assembly for their consideration and possible approval by a 2/3 majority vote. That's stage two.
Okay.
The actual consideration and vote. That's stage three. And then thereafter, the approval, and then you have a declaration of a state of emergency. So it's a procedure, it's a process. What the president has just done, in this case, was to announce, broadcast, or pronounce a state of emergency on television. Now, all the Constitution requires the president to do is to issue by an instrument a proclamation. And when we're talking about constitutional matter, we're not just talking about literal or ordinary dictionary interpretation. It's a procedure. It has to be followed to the letter before you can have a state of emergency. And the reason why it is so in constitutional law is that under a presidential system of government, you have three branches of government. When you're going to take extraordinary measures that implicate possibly suspending or breaching the provisions of the Constitution, including the special provisions entrenched in the Constitution, fundamental rights, conducting searching, barging into houses, locking down places, holding people in detention, military detention, as if you have a martial law. You have to secure the concurrence of the legislature. Otherwise, you'll have a dictatorship. What we've seen following that pronouncement is that the media is awash with reports that even the military has started discussing a curfew. I say, when the National Assembly has not sat, we may be eager, we may be stressed up, we may be under severe pressure to get quick solution. And indeed, everybody is. But the due process of law must be followed to the letter.
Now, if all that you have just heard him explain there is true, and it is true, why then did the deployment of soldiers boot Governor Fubara out of the government house last night when the National Assembly has not deliberated on this matter? I thought they said President Tinubu was a Democrat. Is this what Democrats do?